Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to our closing plenary session. You are truly part of the faithful remnant. We started with over 600 at the beginning of the week, and we've got the stalwarts that are still here. I just have a question for you. Is there anyone that would be offended with me wandering around in here right now as opposed to being stuck at the podium? Okay. Then in honor of our friends right here, I'm going to use the lavalier and move around a little bit. Just out of curiosity, how many of you are first-time attendees? So we have a few. For those of you that have not been here before, and perhaps for those of you that have been to NACM conferences before but have left early, we try to do a few very specific things at the closing plenary sessions. One is that we want to get some honest feedback from you. I know that you've been asked to do evaluations throughout the week. You've done them for the individual workshops. You've done them for the plenary sessions. But it would be really helpful for our board and officers to hear from you if there's anything that really strikes you about this week. What worked, what didn't work? Is there something that you would like us to know about as we go forward and plan additional conferences? So I guess I would like to take a minute or two just to ask you about that and see if there's any particular one that would like to respond. Any thoughts? Any ideas? I'll come to you. Dawn.
My comment is Minneapolis in February and Vegas in July. You can flip-flop them?
Yeah. It's an interesting question. Frankly, are there any folks here from the Conference Development Committee that are still here? If you look at some of the hands that are going up, we were actually asked by our immediate past president, Jude, to look at that issue this year. And we have had a lot of conversation about it. And I think what you're going to see going forward is that there's going to try to be a focus on temperate, comfortable climates. The subcommittee that looked at this actually was nicknamed the Palm Tree Committee, to try to see what we can do. But the reality is we've gone back and forth with members. We've done a lot of survey work with members, and it's interesting because generally our membership wants a few different things that don't always work together. They want the lowest room rates as possible, but they want to go to first-tier cities. Sometimes those don't mix. So if you go to first-tier cities, what NACM has often tried to do in trying to get the lowest room rate possible for members is to go off-season, if you will. That's when the best room rates occur in these first-tier cities. So when we're doing that, it's difficult sometimes to find the right balance. But one thing that we've always appreciated is when members know of a hot location in your area. If there's a good place that we ought to be looking at, let us know about that. There might be a new facility. Where we're going next year for the annual conference, when we did the site visit, the people that were doing the site visit, where's Paul? He was wearing a hard hat because the facility hadn't even been built yet. But as a result of that, and contracting with them several years in advance, we got an outstanding deal. So that's the type of thing that we're always trying to balance. And again, if you have suggestions, let us know. Any other comments or thoughts? Tom.
Don't be afraid of Minneapolis in the wintertime. That's my hometown. Dale Kasparek has lived there, and in downtown Minneapolis they got the famous Skyway system where you can get all over the place. In downtown, you can also go to St. Paul, and there's a lot of things to do there. So it's really a dynamic, exciting city. And the state government might actually be open by that time.
Thank you. Any other thoughts or comments? Yes.
Having the conference materials online, I really enjoyed being able to pull them up on the iPad at the table. And if you could add some of the PowerPoints to that as well, I think that would be helpful.
What did you think about that? I would like to ask Kelly, where's Kelly, and David to stand up and take a bow. Is Kelly here right now? Okay, Kelly Steele and David Slayton sort of pushed our board this year in one respect and suggested that we really needed to look carefully at having this mobile site, and they did the lion's share of the work of setting it up, getting it ready to go. And our effort here was, as part of our effort to go green to a degree and cut down on paperwork, we still had notebooks for everyone at this conference, but don't be surprised if in the future when you register for a conference, we ask you to check a box if you want a paper copy of something. And if you don't check the box, we're going to assume that you have some kind of mobile device that will allow you to pull it up electronically while you're at the conference. That would save NACM, save our members a tremendous amount of cost associated with the conference. Sarah.
I really did. I think it brought a variety of people here, and for my state, we had people from the state administrators as well as, local jurisdictions, and I think it's a very good thing. Is it likely that you will do that again?
That's a good question. I've not had a chance to reconnect with the NASJA board. They finished their following the conference board meeting earlier today. The individual feedback I got from NASJA board members was very positive, and it seemed like they would be open to the possibility of doing that again. How quickly we do it, I think, remains to be seen. My understanding is, as an organization, NASJA has already contracted for the next 2 years for sites. So it's probably unlikely it will happen in that time frame, but perhaps after that, we may be looking at another joint conference. And then, as you talked about the collaboration in general, we're also talking with some other national organizations, including, I'm not going to get it right, the NCBC, National Conference of Bankruptcy Clerks, and the Federal Court Clerks Association, FCCA. And they may be very interested in partnering with us in the future as well. So one of our past presidents, Norm Meyer, right over here, has been helping us make those connections because he's involved with those associations. Did I see another hand? Pam, did you have a hand up? No. All right. Well, I just wanted to get a sense from you if you had any hot button items. We will be going through as a board, reviewing the evaluations from the conference, looking at the speakers. Our goal to you, every time the Conference Development Committee goes to work, we want to bring you the highest quality educational opportunities that we possibly can. And the best way we can keep doing that is to get feedback from you. Let us know what you need, what you want, and we will go to work and try to make that happen. And I think to talk a little bit about how that is going to be happening, I'm going to ask our new president-elect, Pam Harris, just to give you a little bit of a sense of where we're going from a theme standpoint and where our 2012 conferences will be. What we have, so you'll see it in a moment, there are 2 video clips that we're going to show you from the sites of the mid-year location in Minneapolis and the annual conference in Orlando. So we'll look at the Minneapolis. My understanding is these may be streaming live, so once we get into them, we can't stop them. But it's just a few minutes, and then we can chat a little bit about what's going to be coming up. So, Wes, if we could have the first clip, please, from Minneapolis.
Minneapolis is a diverse and beautiful city with a wide variety of attractions, from exciting professional sports teams to enlightening theater and art. Inside the city limits of this major American city, you'll find the great green outdoors. Minneapolis is also a safe, clean city, buzzing with a dynamic vibe and whirlwind of creative energy. America's big river, the Mississippi, runs right through Minneapolis, bringing some majestic views of the river that has influenced writers like Mark Twain and F. Scott Fitzgerald. The city's riverfront district is a great blend of historic landmarks and trend-setting cultural spots like the Mill City Museum and the Guthrie Theater. Downtown Minneapolis is the true heart and soul of the city, with world-class entertainment venues, museums, theaters, shopping, and restaurants all within walking distance. A climate-controlled skyway connects over 85 city blocks, and with nearly 3.2 million people living in the metro area, the city is alive around the clock. Minneapolis is youthful and sophisticated, where smart visitors take their time to experience everything the city has to offer. Minneapolis has emerged as a premier arts center. 2006 was the year of a major arts explosion. 5 leading-edge arts buildings were built in the city. Almost 60 museums dot Minneapolis, led by the Minneapolis Institute of Arts and the Walker Art Center, what Newsweek calls possibly the best contemporary art museum in the U.S. Right next door, the stunning Minneapolis Sculpture Garden is a must-see. After dark, Minneapolis culture shows a slightly different face. There are 9 distinct entertainment districts here, with nightlife for every type of reveler. Theater is a religion in Minneapolis. From Tony Award-winning companies to the best children's theater in America, the scene here runs wide and deep. Travel guru Arthur Frommer once said, "The small theaters in Minneapolis are worth the trip alone." Another theater of spectacle has taken Minneapolis by storm: professional sports. The city is home to 4 pro sports teams, and locals have caught the fever in a big way. For the eco-conscious, Minneapolis is a true green city filled with the great outdoors. There are nearly 200 miles of recreational paths and trails winding through the metro area. And no Minneapolis resident lives more than 6 blocks from a city park. Talk to any serious shopper about their favorite American destinations, and Minneapolis will be at the top of the list. This is home to Mall of America, the largest shopping complex in the country. This is one of Minneapolis's biggest attractions, and for good reason. With more than 520 stores and a megaplex movie theater, Mall of America is so large, it has its own zip code. It's also only 5 minutes from the airport, so serious shoppers can get busy right away. Minneapolis's other major mall is Nicollet Mall, downtown's main 11-block thoroughfare. This bustling, friendly street is a doorway to some of the best restaurants, shopping, entertainment, and hotels in town. Minneapolis is home to a thriving business community drawn to the city's quality of life and low cost of living. Business travelers also love the city and cite its rare combination of laid-back environment and state-of-the-art facilities. There's a spirited energy all over Minneapolis that is contagious. Visitors love it, locals never want to leave, and everyone here is always uncovering yet another treasure. The following show has been brought to you by Meet Minneapolis, the official Convention and Visitors Association. For more information, go to www.minneapolis.org.
Let's have a round of applause for our hosts in Minneapolis. Now, just to see how many were really paying attention, how many saw 3 feet of snow or 6 feet of snow on the ground in any of those shots? Not too many, but, but we'll get there. We're going to talk a little bit about themes, but just so that you can get the idea of what we have available for you together, we're going to look next at the clip for Orlando, and while we're doing that, some of our board members are going to pass around some of the dates for the conferences, as long as some promotional information on Orlando. Our site selection committee has looked at a lot of different properties and have tried to find things that would be attractive to most of our members and would also be affordable. So hopefully you'll find that we've got some good value, just like we did here at the Red Rock this week. So to talk a little bit about what's coming up from a program standpoint, our President-elect Pam Harris.
And I'm going to say hook to our president here. This is his way of keeping me close. I won't take too long on this. We've been working with the Conference Development Committee and with the Minnesota folks to develop a conference agenda that will hopefully meet the Minnesota folks' needs as well as our needs of our membership nationally. We're working on transformative governance and leadership for the Minnesota agenda, and it's our hope to have a full educational program completed in the next 30 days. So we're trying to get better at getting these agendas out to you sooner so that you can plan ahead and ask for funding way in advance and have justification for that funding. As far as the annual conference goes, we are just beginning that, the conference development on that. We hope that our Conference Development Committee will come up with some great speakers. And obviously for all of you, if you know any plenary speakers or workshop speakers that you would like us to look at to provide some workshops or plenaries, please get those names to us and we'll be happy to look at it with the Conference Development Committee. We also would like all of you, since you're here and you're obviously the hardcore of this group, to join the Conference Development Committee. We have many subcommittees that I'm sure you could find some interest in, and we would love to really have you work on those committees. We think that you would find that enjoyable, and you will meet people that are just wonderful people that you might even strike up lifetime friendships with. So we hope that you will join us in trying to make these conferences the best that we can make them for our membership.
Thank you, Pam. I think, as you all know and as you've seen this week, our conferences, the annual and the mid-year conference, are one of the primary ways we try to move educational content out to court managers in the U.S. and around the world. We've had some great international participation at this conference, and we hope to see more of that in the future as we go forward. but the conferences are one part of how we roll out our education. We've talked about publications, some distance learning opportunities, and things like that. One thing that the board has worked on very, very hard over the past year is looking at how we inform that content. How do we decide what some of the primary topics and areas are that we need to focus attention on as a profession? And one of the ways we've done that is by developing the NACM National Agenda. And to talk a little bit about the National Agenda and the efforts that are being made to share that in an ongoing way with the court management profession is Scott Griffin, who's been chairing that subcommittee. And Scott, I really like you, but I'm not going to stay tethered to you.
That's okay.
And if you've not seen it yet, there is a flyer that has been distributed that talks a little bit more about this.
Everybody should have a copy of the flyer. If you don't, raise your hand and we'll get you a copy. I know I gave you all a copy. No? No, it was just Susie and Tina. About a year ago, when Stephanie Hess, the Planning Committee Chair, contacted me to ask if I would be willing to chair the National Agenda Subcommittee, I said yes pretty quickly, but what I did shortly after saying yes was give some thought to really what a national agenda is, and did a little bit of research. And in doing that, I found that there are other domains of other professions where there is a national agenda. The domain of education, public health, and environmental policy are three areas where there are established national agendas. And what struck me about the agendas in those domains was that the stakes are really high in those areas. And giving some thought to what those agendas involved was helpful to me in terms of getting me oriented to how I might be able to support the work of this subcommittee, which I might add includes members who are all currently or were previously officers or board members. So it was a very, in some ways, it was a very easy job that I had of just kind of keeping everybody together and keeping things moving. But in doing that background, one of the things that became clear to me was just what the purpose of a national agenda can be. And there were three things that jumped out at me. One was that a national agenda can help focus the activities and the interests of parties that have common interests. And they can also align the initiatives of parties with common interests, entities of common interest. And they can help activate or accelerate efforts of these different parties to pursue the agenda. And this year what we saw was, on behalf of NACM leadership, Jude, and the officers in the board, efforts to really make sure that the national agenda, the provisions of the agenda, were finding a home and finding a place. But one of the charges of the subcommittee was to give some thought to how we could continue to get news and information about agenda priorities out, and how we could inform NACM's work pursuant to these priority areas. Pam asked me at the leadership seminar on Sunday to give a little update to those who were in attendance. And one of the things we talked about was how it's important to get, not only to get information about the fact that NACM has a national agenda out to state association leaders, but also to invite state association leaders and in turn members in general to tell us what is being done in your states or in your jurisdictions relative to these priorities. The subcommittee did some outreach to the Publications Committee and the Website Committee, and we gave some thought to how we might enhance the presence of the agenda in our publication and on the website, and to make it more interactive. So the agenda priorities are really a touchstone for conference planning and for other activities that the board and the leadership is involved in, and will continue to be so. But look for some enhancements to the website, and if you've got information you want to share about things that are going on in your jurisdiction relative to these agenda priorities, we invite you to let us know about them. Thank you.
As I mentioned, when we gather, we usually try to do a few different things at these closing plenary sessions. Obviously, we wanted to give you a sense of the dates and the places where future conferences will be held, because you as members and as part of the faithful remnant that's still here at the end of this conference know you're our best ambassadors to go back to the courts, to let people know what value there is to participate with NACM, and encourage them to come and do that. So hopefully, if there's anything we can do as your officers or board to provide information throughout the year to your local courts or to your state associations or other related organizations, we would love to have the opportunity to do that, and we invite you to contact us if we can help in any way. We also promise to give you a little bit more on the national agenda. My hope is you've seen some of that sprinkled through the whole educational content week this year, or this week. We really tried to focus our attention on that and help people better understand what the national agenda is about through our educational programming. But now I get the pleasure of coming to the part which is really why all of you are here, I'm guessing. And that has to do with a little piece of paper that I have in my hand that I would like to read to you. This is from the Red Rock Casino Resort and Spa in Las Vegas. And it says that the Red Rock Casino Resort and Spa would be delighted to have you as our guest. This complimentary 3-night stay in our luxurious signature suite is valid for the stay, along with the round-trip VIP limo transfers between the McCarran International Airport and the Red Rock Casino Resort and Spa. Complimentary access to our fitness facility, spa pool, located within the 35,000-foot area, and complimentary access to our 3-acre backyard pool and patio complex. So we have this, and when we set this up through our agreement here with Red Rock, we had out in our promotional information that this would be eligible for any of the members that registered prior to, help me with the date, June 17th, the early bird registration date, and as a NACM member. And were there any other criteria? Well, they didn't have to be a NACM member, so just as long as you registered for the conference prior to that early bird date. According to our now famous tellers, we know that we have 278 people that met that qualifying requirement. So what I'm going to do, we'll see how long this takes to do it, maybe not too long, but I'm going to come to one of my most vocal tables first and ask you if you can agree on one number between 1 and 278. This is the consensus and collaboration part that we've been talking about. This is the 131. Okay, that's your final answer? Okay. From our official list, I'm going to page 3 of the list, and number 131, and of course you had to be here to win, is Mr. Gregory T. Ireland. Is Greg still here? Okay. So a nice try, Mark. But since you were so nice to volunteer, I'll come over and see if your table wants to pick a number. 82. Now I'll come right back. Okay. 82 is Mr. Joseph Evers. Mr. Evers is not here. You had another idea. The difficulty that I have, though, is that I don't know if everyone here beat the early bird registration date, and that was one of the requirements. So, pick a number. 62, and I'm not sure she's here. It's Chief Justice Kujo from Kaduna State in Nigeria. She is not here. so you have to be here to win. Okay, pick another number for me. 160. Mr. Sean Lillywhite? No. If we get to Mark, sir, pick a number for me. 142. Ms. Twinette Jones? She's gone. Try one more. You're on a roll.
178.
178. Ms. Patricia McNutt from the Federal Court Clerks Association. But she left. Okay. Yes, sir. Ma'am. What do you think? Pick a number. Mr. William Augusto. 10. Ms. Wamanaka Anol? Keep trying. We have a 17, a Miss Sisley Barber. Is it Sisley? Okay, give me another number. 53. Ms. Terry Cook, Denver County Court. 65. Ms. Lisa Davis McGregor. She's here. Ms. Felicia Scott. Ms. Teresa York. Mr. Paul Alberga. All right, let's check the name tag. I saw what he was doing over there. Paul, we have a first-time attendee here. So it is with great pleasure that I offer you this 3-day stay at the Red Rock Resort and Casino.
Great, thank you. I'm going to actually, I'm going to have this I'm going to give it away on a raffle to our children's home in Orange County.
I think that's worth an announcement.
I'm going to go ahead and donate this on behalf of NACM and myself to the Orangewood Children's Home next to our Juvenile Justice Center in Orange County. Thank you.
Paul, it would be wonderful, I think, and our publications committee would like it, when you do that, if you would be willing to share some information about that we may be able to print into the Court Express. One of the things that we have tried to do is shown where some of the outreach that we've done as NACM members across the country have benefited our communities and have shown that we're good neighbors and part of the justice community in all types of ways. So let's give Paul another round of applause for his willingness to do that. And now I'd just like to double check with officers or board members. Is there any other business that we need to bring before the assembled body at this time? If not, I would like to personally thank all of you for being here, for participating throughout the week, for providing the networking opportunities that we've had. I hope you've had a great experience, and we hope to see you back here again. And on the way out, if you see folks from Nevada, please thank them again for the host states, for the volunteerism that they've done, for the Cyber Cafe, and for everything else. So with that, thank you all. We hope to see you at future conferences. Don't forget to sign up for a committee and have a safe travel home.